for the reminder. Well, hello there and welcome to Virtual Business Week here at Beautiful Faces Going Places. We are so excited because today is actually day 4 of our entire Virtual Business Week, and it has just been extremely incredible and phenomenal. Just the quality of speakers and trainings that we've had here, and the new connections and conversations that we've also had the opportunity to engage in, just meeting new faces. It's been just phenomenal and so much fun. So thank you all for joining us for day 4. I've got to say, we kicked off the week with Jamie Shibley of the Expressory, and she really poured into us the importance of loving on our customers and that relationship marketing and how critical it is for all of us to, express gratitude and thank yous and touch base with not only our clients and customers, but our colleagues and friends and family, and just staying front of mind. And then Tuesday was Deborah Fawaz of DD Faces, and really fine-tuning your first impression, and so many takeaways with Deborah. In fact, I now brush the back of my head and I don't know how to thank her for just helping us all emphasize, how are we showing up in the world? How can we polish our first impressions? Because they really are lasting impressions. So make sure you catch her video training replay on our YouTube channel. And then last night we had Business After Hours and Happy Hour with Lori Ann Reeves. And wow, she really shared with us how to take our virtual connections to conversations that lead to the ask, and closing that gap, because there is a gap from your new virtual connection to having that conversation to actually closing a sale. So that whole process was just incredible and extremely valuable and helpful, and I cannot wait to implement her strategies as well. And then today is day 4. Our special guest and presenter here is Kay Fittis with High Heeled Success. And let me just say, she is a powerhouse. I want to say congratulations to you, Kay, for earning your 20-year pin as a professional speaker with the National Speakers Association. That is what an achievement and accomplishment that is. And we are so lucky to have you here today with us. So today is going to be a powerhouse, right? Powerhouse day.
Yep.
So here we go. A critical tool for business success is the ability to present with impact. You must have presentation skills that grab your audience, keep them engaged, and have them ready to act. That is why this program, Gaining Visibility Through Power Presentations, is vital for each of you here today. Our speaker is a leading authority in showing career-oriented women how to overcome learned gender behaviors that put them at a disadvantage in the business world. Her registered trademark, High Heeled Success, is a 6-part formula, including power presentations, which is our focus today. Since founding her company, she has guided over 100,000 women in developing skills for career enhancement and has given close to 3,000 presentations. Wow. Today, as a keynote speaker and trainer, coach, and consultant, she shares her strategies across the U.S. at corporations, associations, public seminars, and nonprofits. She says she feels qualified to guide you today because she has not blown a speaking presentation this week, but hey, it's only Thursday, right?
Right.
She hasn't done this one yet. So please help me welcome Kay Fittis of High Heeled Success, LLC, who will give you 3 easy presentation techniques that you can use tomorrow to add profit to your business. So welcome, Kay Fittis.
Woo. Well, here's the big question. Would you love it if you could just wave a magic wand and truly be able to have visibility and credibility in your business and career? I think that would be fabulous. And quite frankly, the moment that you step to the front of a room, or that you even present virtually, you already have some credibility and some visibility. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Certainly. And the reality is that if you can develop powerful presentations, you can take that credibility and visibility that you already have just by being the speaker through the roof. If, and this is a big fat if, those presentations are in fact powerful. I didn't say just okay or pretty decent or kind of good. I said powerful. And you may be thinking to yourself, yikes, Kate, I'm not sure whether mine is actually powerful or not. Don't worry. Wherever you begin is okay. How do I know that? Well, let me share my screen with you. See if we can actually find out the answer to that. Okay, let's get us going here. Whoops. All right. Pretty scary picture, huh? When this picture was taken, I was the director of a large department in a state psychiatric hospital. And yes, they did let me out at night. And when I realized what kind of a dilemma I was in, I was really nervous. Why? As a new leader, I had no credibility and pretty much no visibility. One of the reasons, I was 1 year out of college. I was 4'11". I was female, and I weighed about 97 pounds soaking wet. I had no visibility, no credibility, and to make it worse, I was going to have to lead these people in a thrust to take Eastern State Psychiatric Hospital into the new world of psychiatric care. And I had a staff of 27 that to say they were resistant was to put it mildly. I had to present at staff meetings, department meetings, in the community as a whole. And quite frankly, I had gotten the feedback that mine were not even close to powerful. They were actually rather pitiful. So if I can go from pitiful beyond measure to more powerful and being a speaker for 20 years, you can too. But let me find out a little bit about you, what kind of dilemmas you may run into when it comes to speaking. First of all, do you ever wonder, am I sometimes boring? What do you think? Let's unmute everybody and find out. Do you ever worry about being boring?
Oh, I absolutely do worry about
Do
being
you?
boring. Sure.
Okay. What tells you that you need to be a little bit concerned about that, Carol?
I think if I see a blank face.
Oh, isn't that awful?
With a blank face, or, you know, they're looking elsewhere, you know, they're not engaged with me. We can all tell when someone.
You can read it, can't
like,
you?
Yes.
You really can. So sometimes we're afraid, well, I'm a little bit boring. Sometimes the concern is about distraction, right? When you're presenting in person, what are some of the things that happen that may distract everyone in the audience and you as the presenter? What would distract you?
Somebody's phone ringing.
Cell phone going off, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All those things are distracting. And when it comes to virtual presenting, just this week, I was on a presentation and we were on Zoom and had a woman's husband walk right behind her. Everybody was looking at this guy. He was cute. I got to admit, he was really cute. Then just a little bit later, maybe 2-3 minutes later, a woman's 2 children literally leaped on her shoulders, one pulling in each direction. So horrendous distraction. And I know for me, you will see a window over here and I can hear a train right now going by. I'm trying not to be distracted. And the third thing you may be concerned about, when I present, am I being memorable? Will the people to whom I'm speaking remember my services, my products, my idea, and my takeaway? Well, good news, bad news here. You know, if you have some of those concerns, that's sort of the bad news. But the good news is today we are going to be really looking at the right tool for the right job. And specifically, we're going to be looking at 3 C's for gaining visibility through power presentations. Now, right now, it's a good time for us to do just a little bit of housekeeping. Marianne, you're paying attention to our chat room, right?
I am.
So we certainly invite all of you to, number one, put your questions in the chat box as we go along. Also, for those of you that are visual learners and you want to write it down on a piece of paper, feel free to do that, because I can just about guarantee you, if you have a question at the top of the presentation, the time we get to the full Q&A, it will be out of your brain going right down the street. So let's make sure that we do that. And this is going to be an interactive presentation. So for the most part, we're going to keep everybody unmuted, because I want to know your thoughts and your fears and your concerns, and we'll address these as very much as we possibly can.
I love that, Kay. Thank you so much. We do want this
absolutely.
interactive. And do you
Yeah.
mind clicking at the top of your screen, enable editing?
Let's see.
Your presentation isn't showing up, right?
Oh, you're kidding.
We're seeing all the pictures at one time.
Oh dear. That's
So
not
in your
good.
PowerPoint, you just need to hit enable editing and then hit launch the presentation again.
All right, let's just do this. Let's go back
All of your
here.
slides are beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you so much, but we don't
Here
need
we
to
go.
see them all. Oh, that's just a little fat overwhelming. Now, are you okay?
No, okay, see in that yellow strip at the top, it says restricted view or protected view. There's a yellow strip in
No.
PowerPoint, and there's a box there that says enable editing. I think that will allow you to present.
Well, let's see. Enable editing.
Right there.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Perfect.
All righty. There we go.
Now you need to screen share again and then present.
Thank you. Okay. Now, here we go. Okay. The joys of online presenting. Isn't it just lovely? Okay. Here we go. Okay, enough of that.
There we go.
That's just too
Perfect.
scary for
Perfect.
words. All right, let's take a look at our first C here, and that is command attention. The very first words out of your mouth need to really reach out and grab your audience. But 9 times out of 10, that is not what happens. Let's unmute everybody right now and find out what typically, if it's not a super powerful presentation, what are some of the common words you hear out of someone's mouth? What do you hear? First words.
Hello.
Hello. Yep. What else?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yep. And
Thank
how
you
about
for
one?
me. Thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you for letting me be here. Is that very attention getting, folks?
No.
No, it truly is not. We know that we have to do something because we've already identified some of your audience. They are incredibly distracted, aren't they? So today we're really going to be looking at ways that you could grab that audience. And when I do workshops, when I work with my individual clients, we look at 9 different ways you can start a presentation. Good news, I'm not going to try to cover all 9 today. We're going to just look at 2, but we're going to kind of marry the 2 together. interesting thought, isn't it? So what does that mean? We're going to use the technique of a married prop and question. I want you to think back for a moment. What prop did I use to start this presentation today?
Wand.
The wand, the infamous fairy wand, right? And what question did I couple with the wand? You remember? Would you love it if?
Magic, yeah, something about magic.
Would you love it if you could have instant visibility and credibility? So that combination of those two does several things. Number one, it's a little bit different. It's forcing the audience to think about how your presentation is of value to them. And then it actually causes them to start internally asking more questions. So we're going to try it here today as a virtual presentation. I'm going to invite you to get out your piece of paper and pen, first of all, so I'll pause just a moment here for you to do that. And first be thinking about, what is your topic? The next time you're going to present, what are you going to present in relationship to? What is your topic? Secondly, what is a burning question that your audience probably has, or a burning problem? Maybe that's even more important. A burning problem that they have. And what could depict as a prop that problem? Now, as an example here, before I have everybody just go off on their own for a moment, Carol, I am actually going to put you on the spot. Don't normally do that with participants, but I know you've been doing this all week long and people have put you on the spot consistently, so I feel safe to do that.
Yes.
Okay. The whole concept of beautiful faces going places is around the topic of what?
Education.
Education, absolutely. So a question that you might ask an audience would be what?
What topic would inspire you? I'm trying to think. What topic, what do you need right now in your business?
Oh, perfect. What do you need right now in your business? And I've got a thought. I'm looking right behind you now. I see your map, first of all, and I see your globe. What if your question took it even farther? So repeat your question again.
What do you need right now in your business?
And if we extended it, what do you need right now in your business that could take your visibility around the world? And Carol could point backwards to her globe. Point to your globe, you know, and there you go. See how this works? This is not difficult. It's just a matter of practice. So right now, I'm going to give each of you about 30 seconds to come up, identify your topic, what's your question, and what prop could you combine it with? Okay. Let's see what we have. Who would be willing to give us a sample of a question and a potential prop? Oh, don't everyone jump in at once.
I'll give it a choice here.
Go for it, Becky.
So I am actually working on my first workshop I'm going to do virtually. So this is great timing.
Make sure you do editing.
And it's going to be on creativity, which Kay knows this about me. I, for a long time, have not considered myself creative in the traditional sense, right, of
Okay.
crayons and markers and that point. So I was thinking about a question around, do you have the magic marker to build your creativity?
Ooh.
A marker. I was
And
thinking,
you would just
that's kind of how I want to start it.
love it.
You know, around that
You know,
traditional sense.
her prompt
Yes.
is a marker, right? Just happen to have one at my fingertips. I swear to y'all, this was not planned, right, Becky? Not in the least. Can you do this, ladies? It's a matter of figuring out, what do my audiences have questions about? What problems do they have? But that question will really reel them in. And we know, though, that 9 times out of 10, that is not how people are starting presentations. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to invite you to take an oath with me. Okay, let me tell you what the oath is about, because you don't want to, you know, swear on a stack of Bibles here if you then you don't want to do it. So here's the oath. I promise from today forward, I will never again open a presentation with good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Nod your head if you're willing. Okay, got some willing folks out there. Okay, hands up. All right, repeat after me. I promise.
I promise
I will never again
I will never again
start a presentation
start
a presentation
with good morning, good evening, or hello.
with good morning,
Good morning.
good evening,
Good evening.
Hello.
or hello.
Hello.
Wonderful. Give yourselves a round of applause. Okay. Now, nothing like making a commitment. And welcome, Neil. We're glad to see you here today. And just as a disclaimer, make sure that you don't worry about having to wear high heels while you are virtually in this presentation. All the tips and techniques I'm going to be giving today are going to work for anyone, not just women with high heels on. Okay. So our next C is command memory. Command memory. The organizational psychologist Peg Newhouser did a great deal of research, and what she found was that a well-told story causes the memory to remember that information for longer and with more detail. Makes sense, right? I mean, we've been asking people to tell us stories our entire life. I want you to imagine for the moment that you are doing a presentation and you have given 5 slides of facts and figures. Now, those slides may be important. They may even be critical, but are they memorable? Let's hear a reaction to that. Do you remember facts and figures, statistics when you see them in a presentation? No, I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding no here. So what can we do instead? We can tell memorable stories. And once again, I'm not saying pretty okay. I'm not saying decent. I'm not saying passable. I'm saying memorable. Here is what a concern is, a fear is. Here are the words of Sir Cecil Beatman. Perhaps the world's second worst crime is boredom, and the first is being a bore. You don't want to be a bore. You don't want, does anybody have well, I'll give you the description first. Does anybody have an Uncle Ralph who at every Thanksgiving tells the same stupid story? It goes on forever. It is boring beyond anything you can imagine, and you find yourself rolling your eyes at other family members. Does anybody have a Uncle Ralph in your family? Yeah, well, we don't want to be Uncle Ralph. So I'm going to give you a sample of a story as an end product that a woman came to me for. She was having an exciting time in her life. She was publishing her very first book. And For anyone that's ever published a book, it is an exhilarating feeling. And as part of her publishing, she was going to be going on a book signing tour. She came to me because a couple of her friends, colleagues had given her the feedback that the story she was telling in her first presentation was an Uncle Ralph kind of story. It was pretty darn boring. So here is the finished product. I am now Alice, my client. If you had been there that day on the big yellow school bus on that crisp October day, you would have seen me step off of the bus, and unbeknownst to me, 3 girls step off behind me. Suddenly, out of nowhere, there was this gang of 3 girls around me, pushing and shoving me and screaming at the top of their lungs, "Brownie, striped, two-tone, you're ugly, you're not even black." Why? Because I'm biracial. As hard as I could, I jumped out of their grasp. I ran screaming down the street to my babysitter Darlene's house, threw open the door, sobbing. And Darlene just said, "Alice, what is the matter with you?" "I'm not really black and I am ugly." And Darlene just reached her arms out and encompassed me and said the words I will never forget. "You are not ugly, Alice. You are beautiful from inside out, and don't ever let anybody else tell you that you're not." On that day, my self-image began to change. And in that one experience was developed the foundation to the book I share with you today. Thoughts, reactions, comments to that story? How's it hit you?
That's powerful.
Did it bring some emotion up for you?
It kept my attention for sure, too.
It kept your attention? Kathleen, what were you going to say?
You could visualize what was happening, the way it was descripted. Yeah.
Yes. And what was interesting was the fact there was a lot that was not said. Would you agree with that? Let me ask you a couple of questions. Let's unmute everyone. Did you know how old Alice was?
No.
No, you didn't. Did you know what grade she was in?
No.
No. Did you know where she lived?
No.
But now, did you, in your mind's eye, put in that information for yourself? Did you have a visual of that? Isn't that fascinating? By what I left out, or in this case, what Alice left out, you became part of the story. And there is a technique that works like gangbusters that I want to share with you here. 3 characteristics of a memorable story. The first is, it is rapid fire. Do you know how long my Alice story just took? Any guesses? Let's hear some guesses.
A minute.
A little bit longer.
3 minutes.
A little bit shorter. Drum roll, please, for Goldilocks in just the right fit.
90 seconds.
You're pretty darn close. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes for Alice's story. So it was rapid fire. I left a lot out. I only included what drove that story forward. Does that make sense to you? Because otherwise it ends up being far too long and people start losing interest. Secondly, I didn't tell you what Alice said. I became Alice and there was actual dialogue, right? That will bring a story to life and make it memorable. And last but not least, you the speaker, have to connect all the dots. What does that mean? That means that some people will get the point of the story right off the bat. Other people need a little bit of help understanding why you're telling the story. Now, you don't want to insult people and say, well, of course, you know, the reason for the point, you know, what the point of the story is. You don't want to offend your audience. That doesn't make for very memorable presentations, other than I remember I never want to hear this person again. What you can say, this is something you can kind of stick in your back pocket. This is a phrase that can work like gangbusters. As you all know, ... So you're acknowledging that many people in the room or on the screen know this concept. And for those that don't, you haven't said, and who didn't get it? You don't want to do that. So if you will work with these three characteristics, you can come up with a very memorable story. Now, as you probably have already guessed, I'm going to ask you to be thinking about this yourself. Right now, you've already identified what your topic is, so we kind of have a sample working product today. So what story could really be memorable and could etch your point into their mind? I'm not going to have you write a story. We're not going to be here until 7 o'clock this evening, but just the name of a story. I'm going to give you about 15 seconds here to put on your thinking cap and say, ooh, what would be a good story that I could tell to make this point? So I'll put my little stopwatch on here. All right, believe it or not, time's up. So let's unmute everybody and get a sample of a story you might tell your audience. Don't want you to tell a story, just what is a descriptor of the story? Who's got one that they could get us rolling with? Yeah, go for it, Kathleen.
My story that I share over and over is just my own personal transformation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that, keep in mind, folks, that you really have three chunks of possible storytelling. One, just like Kathleen said, it is her story, or it might be a story about a client, or it might be a story about something you have observed. Now, I don't know if any of you are writers in any way. Maybe you write a blog, maybe you write, I know Marianne writes a magazine. We probably have other people here. You certainly probably write things to go on social media. One of the things that happens with writers is they get writer's block, right? Same thing happens with presenters. They get presenter's block. And so there is a real solution to that. And that is starting ASAP a story log. Now, your story log may be on your phone. I have in my notes on my phone, I have a story log that as I'm kind of flipping down through here, I would say there are about 19 stories in this story log. I also have one on my laptop. I have one on my desktop, and I have a really spiffy spiral notebook in my car. Sometimes it's easier just to jot it down on the piece of paper than it is to even go to my phone and put it into my phone. It's easy to do, and one of the super cool things about having a story log is what you will probably notice is ultimately you are able to use one story to make multiple points. For example, in my scary picture this morning when I told you about being the director of adjunctive therapy at Eastern State, I use that story talking about how a pathetic presenter I was, but I also use that story when I'm talking about leadership skills for women. So you will certainly get to the point where you can tweak a really good story and maybe shift the point just a little bit. Are you willing to give that a try? Let's see a thumbs up if you are. Awesome. Got a bunch of thumbs going there. All right, let's take a look at our third and final C, command action. Now, there is something that you want your listener to do. Maybe you want them to do a complimentary consult with you. Maybe you want them to subscribe to your newsletter. Maybe you want them to buy an idea that you are proposing. We know there's something we want people to do. And unless you kind of carry people along throughout your presentation, when you get to the end, there is the risk that they may do nothing. Not what we want, right? We want people to take action. And so there is a wonderful process that you can take people through towards the end of your presentation, and it is this. It's 3 steps. We think it, we write it, and we verbalize it. What does that mean? If you are doing a face-to-face kind of presentation, you may have a handout. Ask people to close their eyes and think about the first action they are going to take when they leave your presentation today. Then ask them to pull out the handout, write down what action is going to happen. Then suggest to them that they turn to their left and partner with the person next to them and share their action with that person. Just a quick tip after 3,000 presentations, make sure you tell them if you have an uneven number at your table or in your row, make it a group of 3. Otherwise, somebody will be left out and they're going to feel stupid. You don't want people to feel stupid in a presentation. And then last but not least, you're going to invite them to verbalize it to everyone. Now, if it is in person, there is a tool that can work like gangbusters, a prop in the way of something to throw out into the audience. If it's a small group, you may want to do a little hacky sack. If it's sort of a medium-sized one, a little Nerf ball works great. If it's a bigger audience, a small beach ball, because it will go a whole lot farther. And if it's a really big crowd, big fat beach ball that you can volleyball it, spike it right out into the audience. Now, you can't quite do that if in fact you're doing it on a virtual platform, can you? But we can try it at least a little bit. Right now, I'm going to invite you to think by closing your eyes, and I promise you I will close my eyes too, so you will not feel stupid. Close your eyes and think about the first step that you plan to take when you leave here today around developing powerful presentations. So I'll give you just a couple of seconds to think about what that would be. Okay, you open your eyes. Now I'm going to invite you to write it down. What is the first step that you're going to take? What do you really want to work on to bring your presentations into a more powerful format? Okay, we can verbalize it, maybe not one-to-one, but possibly in our networking time, you can do it with one other person or a small group, but we're going to give it a shot right now in our entire group. Let's unmute everybody. Unmuting. Everybody unmute. And let's hear what the first step is that you are going to take. Who would be willing to get us rolling here? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to revisit my presentation and rework some of these powerful points into it.
Wonderful. Give this woman a round of applause. For you. Good for you. Let's hear one more. What are you going to do? Just keep in mind, this is a chance to commit and get a little bit of accountability. What do you think? What would you do?
All right, I'll go.
Okay, Carol. Woo!
Okay, let's not be shy, everyone. I want to hear what you guys are committing to do. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to go ahead and throw mine out there. I am going to create a compelling story.
Wonderful. And do you know what story, have you already in your mind what story you're going to work on?
No, but I know I need to do it, and I need to, yes, create a compelling story. I mean, I know we all have a reason why we're doing what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely. And your first step might be, Carol, to start the story log, because once you start that log, you will have a good sample of a story to work with to take it to the point of being really memorable. Okay, now I am betting that more than likely you have had some thoughts, some ahas, and maybe even some questions as we have gone through this presentation today. Let's pause at this point. Everybody is unmuted, and hear just a couple of your thoughts, your ahas, and any questions that you might have. And Marianne, if you have any questions that have popped up in the chat box, certainly you can point those out. Thoughts, comments, questions?
I have a comment. I thought it was great for a story log. I use Evernote to keep all of my notes across all of my different devices.
Very smart.
And so I need to be thoughtful to keep that on my front screen on my phone, so that when I'm in my car and I think of an idea for a story or someone I want to talk to about contributing to the magazine or something like that, that I remember it by the time I get home.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's amazing how quickly you will see a story that you will say, ooh, you know, or something happened, you'll say, oh, that could make for a great story. But by the time you get home, it's like, I know I had an idea. I don't remember what the heck it was. So kudos to you for taking that action. Other questions that you may have, or thoughts or ahas?
I like the structure of the 3 C's, the attention, the memory, and the action. I mean, I have heard and try to implement the call to action at the end of a presentation, but making sure that it's, memorable, grabbing their attention right from the beginning. And sometimes I use repetitive questions throughout the presentation that, like one I did recently where it was a Facebook Live, but I just kept saying, what do you really want? And then I would share and then put it back at them. What do you want? Like I can tell you what I think and what I know, but like, what do you want? Yeah. So I felt like that was making it memorable and maybe causing people to pause about, well, what do I really want? But I mean, I definitely.
And if you took it to the next level, Kathleen, and actually when you ask the question, invite them to write it down. What do I want? And then when you get towards the end, people will already have a thought about what they really want. They may then be comfortable enough to identify it, because we know there is great power in the leverage of accountability, and there is great power in the leverage of feeling like someone else can prompt our idea. Usually it only takes one person to verbalize it of that, what they really want, and then someone else will say something, or maybe they won't. Maybe they're very uncomfortable talking in a group, but at least they'll have it in their head. True?
Yeah.
Yeah, very important, very important. Any others?
I'm such a storyteller. Kay, you know that about me. That I
Yes.
use stories a lot during my sessions, my programs. And I've heard you tell that story before and talk about this a little bit, but it's never really clicked with me. I think that I give too many details in the story, so I don't leave it to the audience to, make some of those reflections, perceptions, whatever, and add to it. So I think I need to go back, to some of my stories in my story log and think, okay, what can I take out that will still get the story across? So that's really triggered with me today.
Very important, Megan. We're so glad you brought that up. It's about sort of slicing and dicing your story. If a detail really doesn't forward the story, you may want to consider leaving it out. Instead, where is the dialogue?
Right.
Where is the emotion? Does someone's heart beat a little faster? Can they actually feel, maybe, I don't know if with what you're presenting would cause someone to feel a strong emotion, or maybe even have a tear well up in their eye. But taking out is one of the most important parts of really memorable storytelling, so you do not become Uncle Ralph. Okay, anything, Carol, that you had hoped we would cover today that we did not, that you would like to ask a question about?
No, I feel like you totally nailed it and covered it. In fact, the 3 C's were, actually new for me. I've always known that we need to, to create attention or attract, the attention. You want to grab your audience attention. I didn't really know that there were some strategies behind that.
Yeah.
And then just, being memorable and, yes, commanding an action.
Yes. And that is so important. Can you imagine if you spend all the time and the work to put together a presentation and nobody does anything? How frustrating is that? It's frustrating as you, as the speaker, but it's also frustrating for your audience members, because they are internally asking themselves the question, why did I bother? I wasted my time. What good did that do me? And that you do not want. You want people to take action. So,
your mom what the deal is.
couldn't hear all of that. Can you repeat that?
Does someone have another question or a comment?
I had a comment. Thank you, Kay. That was fabulous.
Thanks,
And
Deborah.
what you triggered for me is that whenever I give a presentation or teach a workshop or whatever, I have plenty of props. I'm a previous school teacher, and so I'm all about the props and stuff. But I haven't really transferred that to online speaking. So thank you for awakening that thought in me.
That is a technique that people are missing out on. If you only have a litany of slides and you do not have any interaction and you have no physical props, I've got several in front of me here, it just doesn't give you the variety that you could, and variety really tends to make for a memorable and a really powerful presentation. And keep in mind, folks, we have a reason for doing this. We want to get visibility. We want to get credibility. And in addition to the actions that you have already identified, there are a few actions that I would love for you to take. And let's take a look at what those might be. First of all, my offer to you today, one of my gifts to you today is an opportunity for a 45-minute consultation, complimentary consultation. It could either be around storytelling, it could be around powerful presentations, or it could be overarching in terms of career. Because in my business, we focus on 6 P's. I'm big into letters, C, P, C's, but we focus on 6 P's, and they are powerful personal esteem, powerful professional esteem, power verbal and nonverbal language, power presentations, and power packaging. A little bit of the information that Deborah so astutely led us in her presentation about image. And with that in mind, we could take a broader look in that 45-minute consultation if you would want to around career. I also invite you to go to my website. We have a newsletter that is chock full of career ideas that you can receive. You can also receive a free assessment for your career, as well as a white paper on 6 self-sabotaging mistakes women make in the workplace. And don't totally worry, gentlemen. You could use those tips as well. And there are a ton of free resources there. We have now archived all of our newsletters with all of the articles going back to 2012. So there is a whole lot there. So we'd love to have you go there and use some of that information. And I would love to connect with you. If we're not already connected on LinkedIn or Facebook, I'd love for you to like my Facebook page. On LinkedIn in particular, I would have a newish High Heel Success Female Executive Success Forum, a place where women can go to share their struggles, their celebrations, the things that they are dealing with in the workplace. So I'd love to have you asked to be let into that group. And last but not least, Twitter. So a whole lot of ways that we can get involved together, because I would hate to have this be a one and done. You've been too gracious about being interactive today and being a little bit put on the spot if you're not used to being having that kind of experience in a presentation. So in closing, I'd like for you to think about this. Whoopsie, screen share just went away. I'd like for you to think about this. Whoops. Visibility is truly in your hands. If you can master these 3 C's, if you can master the whole concept of commanding attention, if you can get to the point where you can command memory, if you can get to the point where you command action, I promise you your presentations will be more powerful. And as a result of that, you will gain visibility and credibility for your business and for your career. So go out there and be visible and just create some powerful presentations. Carol, take it away.
Wow, 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 wow. I am just over the top, over the moon with you here today, Kay, sharing this powerful presentation with us all. And you're absolutely right. It is about attention being memorable and action. So fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your brilliance and your expertise with us here at Beautiful Faces Going Places. And on that note, I just want to invite everyone to join us in July, because our program here at Beautiful Faces Going Places is going to be all about visibility in July. And let me just say that all of our attendees here today are going to have a level up here because they were here and enjoyed your training and your coaching today. It's just going to be phenomenal and off the charts. So
yeah, what a wonderful segue.
I know.
When you were here today.
Exactly. I just saw your last PowerPoint slide about visibility. Be visible. Yeah. And it really is. I mean, especially right now with everything that's going on in our world, the last 90 days, you know, we've all had to, you know, innovate and transform and, you know, the word pivot, and we've all had to kind of almost reinvent ourselves and to do business in a new world, a new economy, and a new way of being. And I'm just going to, from my own personal experience, have seen, you know, a lot of individuals and small business owners and entrepreneurs bury their heads in the sands or just kind of shut down. And my thoughts are, I think this is reality here. This is the world that we're working in, and there's no reason why we all cannot continue to make progress, you know, and continue living in our passion, which is our businesses. So whether it's products, goods, or services. So
yeah, and I would make one quick comment on that. What we resist persists.
Yes.
If we are fearful, if we are hesitant to try new things, to try new techniques, it really is a challenge. And if we can say, I will be willing to let my flaws show up. Mine sure did show up today. Thank you, Marianne, for getting me finally to editing. But I'm willing to be vulnerable. I'm willing to say, after 3,000 presentations, I sure as heck don't know it all, and throw me into a virtual arena, and I might as well never done even one presentation. In some ways, it's like starting over, but I encourage each of you, particularly if you are newer to Beautiful Faces Going Places and what Carol has to offer on her platform, make use of it, folks. There are resources there for you that Carol has collected that will help you take a breath, calm down just a little bit, and say, I'm willing to try.
Absolutely. That's exciting. Really super, super exciting. Thank you so much, Kay.
Yes.
All right. Well, we are going to do let's see here. No, I'm not going to do that here. You know what I'd love to do, which is what we did not do at the very beginning. And I always kind of just play it by ear, depending upon the number of attendees and our audience. But let's go around the room and just have everyone introduce yourselves and share a takeaway from today's presentation with Kay. And I am going to start with Becky. There we go. Now I can see us all.
Let me unmute myself. So I am Becky Evamy, and I am in the Dayton area. My field of expertise is in education, particularly adult education, even though I started with the youngsters. And I learned of this through Kay. And got to speak to Carol. So just been really happy to be a part of this. So as of yet, I do not have a personal business. I have definitely been toying with the idea for a few years now. So I just take in opportunities to grow as a person and as a professional whenever I can, and filter in what I need to. So I don't know what else to say, but always reaching out. So I've, made notes to hopefully connect with many of you over time.
Fantastic. Well, Becky, we are just thrilled that you are here. And I was going to break us out into a breakout room, but because we are more of an intimate group here, we're just going to do our networking right here. And so I'm going to ask each and every one of you not only to share your name and your business or a little bit about your background, And then what is the 1C that you are going to implement starting tomorrow, moving forward? So Becky, what is your 1C?
So I'm going to stick with the story. So command, what was it, Kay? Command memory. Command memory, and really just strengthen that skill. I'm very much a perfectionist, very detail oriented. Kay knows that also. So I think that's where I have to tell the whole story. So kind of like you said, slice and dice. So that's where I'm gonna put some of my efforts.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to hearing your story. So please come back and share it with us.
Thank you so much.
Great.
All right, Marianne.
You would call me next. My name is Marianne Foley, and I own onlinetechlessons.com and now the Hip Senior magazine. And I teach senior citizens how to use technology to improve their lives. And I produce a magazine that gives seniors information just about a little bit about everything. I now have 6 writers writing for me, articles for me, and it's going to be nationwide. Ooh. And so, thank you. I'm so excited about it. It's been living in my head for about 9 years now, so it's about time that it's happening. And my takeaway is just creating good, memorable stories that when I'm speaking with people in presentations, that they remember and that they want to do business with me. And I'll be starting this afternoon because I have a meeting with somebody from hospice at 2 p.m.
Oh, how timely.
Yes. Congratulations to you, Marianne. We're really looking forward to supporting you with your new online magazine. That is so
wonderful.
So cool.
And Becky, hey, if you are questioning at all joining Beautiful Faces Going Places, Carol is the most positive person that I have ever met. She is so encouraging, and she really supports everybody in this group. And it's the only group I even belong to right now, just because Carol's just so awesome. So
well, thank you.
Everybody here is just
a true giver.
Well, I'm going to turn purple or pink or something here, but yeah, we all need cheerleaders in our lives. That's for sure. Thank you, Marianne. We love having you here.
Thank
and
you.
Neil, hi there. Good to see you.
You too. So my name is Neil Pishka, and my business is The Fragrance Guy. Mine is passion about fragrance and how bringing people's lives, especially now more than ever. So for me, this is a perfect timing because I have a presentation in July. But not only that, but part of me and what I do is a lot of virtual. So it's giving that storytelling of how passionate I am, and people can see that. So for me, it would be the command, because working on my storytelling.
Great.
Fantastic. Well, practice on us.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear your story.
Timing is everything, isn't it?
Yes.
It really is. I think that's exciting that you have your first presentation in July. So this is perfect timing for you. We'll have to get you on the visibility platform.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I will say, let me just pause for half a second here. Neil, if you do use your complimentary consultation and you want a little bit of help with that, I would be happy to help you with that prior to your July presentation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Awesome. All right. And Kathleen.
Hi, my name is Kathleen O'Hara, and I am a transformational health coach. I believe that anyone has the power to transform their lives, and particularly in 3 foundational areas of mind, body, and finances. And the way I do this differently with my clients is by providing them with a 4-part system that is 2 parts structure, 2 parts support. Those being support from myself individually as their coach and cheerleader, a community, Facebook community, and a weekly Zoom community meeting on Wednesday nights, and then the structure of some education that works on our mindset and how we can learn to respond to our life versus react to it, and then structured nutrition for what is most often a desire to reach a healthy body weight. And what my takeaway was today for sure is, I mean, I loved the 3 C's. I love structure. I am not a structured person. I'm like, oh, where's that squirrel? So whenever structure is given to me, I like chew it up.
Yeah.
So, but the idea of being memorable and having them write things down while I'm talking, that call to action will be more impactful.
Yes, it really does work when you do that. Good for you, Kathleen.
And that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Kathleen. We're just thrilled that you were here with us this week. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for joining us. And Deborah, hi there.
Thank you, Kay.
Hi.
So Kay and she was on the call Tuesday when I spoke, so she knows that we share the same interest in being memorable in all different ways. So I appreciated that, and I'm right on board with you right there. I also appreciated the reminder about the beginning of the presentation. Again, in person, I have a prop, or I start out telling a story. I don't even say my name. I don't tell my story. But now that I'm online, I'm like rolling back into all these old, not great. So thank you for bringing that back up to the front of my brain.
I will tell you a quick piece of feedback that I got. I guess that was Monday, that I was talking to someone about this virtual business week, and they asked how it was going to begin. And I told them, and they said, you can't do that. And I said, well, first of all, I wanted to say, watch me. And secondly, I said, why would that be? And this person said, it's because you have not thanked Carol. You have not said, I'm happy to be there. But did I thank Carol in the body of my presentation? Yes. You bet I did. And so it's easy to have some really good habits when it's in person, but it's a little bit more challenging to do exactly the same thing in a virtual presentation. But you go show them you can do it, Deborah, because you can. And I've got to say this, I was sort of mentally doing the math last night after your presentation the other day, and as you talked about yourself, I was like, whatever that woman is doing, I want some of it, because you've got to be a little bit older than I initially thought you were, but man, you look good. So thank you. On my way.
A lovely compliment coming from you. I'm very grateful.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
So Deborah, which C are you going to work on?
Oh, I'm definitely working on the attention one, about how I'm going to start my talk.
Yeah. Well, your presentation was phenomenal on Tuesday. So
it was right.
It was very engaging, very interactive, conversational, and just all of the tips that you shared with all of us really just hit home, and how important it is for all of us to present ourselves in our best light. I always say, work with your natural gifts, and we all have them, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, wow. Well, this was just incredible. I am just so grateful that all of you took the time out of your busy lives, and you just, put Virtual Business Week on your calendar. You scheduled your success and joined us. It's just been an incredible week, and I can't wait to continue and see your beautiful faces tomorrow on Friday.
Oh, wait a minute, Carol. I've got some parting gifts here.
Oh, thank you. See,
my mind.
I should notice you.
Gifts right out from under you.
Exactly. This is why you need to have a good team.
There you go. Well, I'm going to
message you, Carol.
Oh.
Funny.
All right, Marianne, take it away.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Okay. So I'm not sharing my phone today because I'm on my laptop, but I will show apps up, and everybody's name is in here, and I'm going to hit choose name. I'm going to hit choose, and Kathleen O'Hara.
Kathleen.
Ooh,
You get the book.
Yes, hi.
Thank you.
Go ahead and laugh. This is a book that is 11 speakers. Rich Hopkins then dissects each one of the presentation given by the speakers and what techniques they use to be humorous in their presentation, and how you can take those same techniques and do it yourself. You don't have to be a late night comic, but we do know that bringing humor into a presentation will make it more memorable and far less like Uncle Ralph.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Love it.
And this one is a physical book, so I will be needing your snail mail address to be able to, to get it to you. I initially was going to do it as an ebook, and it's like for books like this, people tend to want to write in the margins and cross things out. So make sure you, and when you get the replay and you see the contact information, just email me your address.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Marianne, number 2.
Oh, we have 2. Yay.
Okay, I have 3.
Also, everybody, don't forget to click on the 3 dots and save everybody's contact information from the chat messages as well.
Thank you.
Okay, number 2, choose me.
All right, Marianne. You get Panic to Power, swift and simple speaking strategies anybody can use. And I'm on the CD with 3 world champions of public speaking. So between the 4 of us, there are more than 50 ideas and techniques and tips that you can use to be a more powerful presenter. Okay, and again, that kind of thing. This one is a physical one, so I will need your snail mail address to be able to send that to you. And last but not least, drum roll, please.
We have 3?
Oh, one more.
Oh.
Wow.
So unfair.
Well, we all love to win prizes, right?
Of course.
Absolutely. Okay, hitting choose. Becky.
Becky.
All right.
Perfect, because Becky, I know you're going to be working on some stories. So you get a 1-hour consultation to specifically work on developing a powerful story, and email me and we will set something up to get that rolling for you. And this is the only way you can get this as a standalone, because in my in my packages, I don't do one and done. I do at the minimum of 6 sessions. So you lucked out. You get a over $200 value that you can't get anyplace else.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Well, we cannot wait to hear Becky's powerful story. So what lovely, lovely gifts. You guys are all lucky winners. So, and then Kay, you did offer, I believe, that you would do was it a 30-minute
45-minute complimentary consultation, either around powerful presenting or something more overarching in terms of stepping up your career.
Awesome. Awesome. So take advantage of that. This is your opportunity. So, well, thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any closing remarks or questions? We're going to go ahead and wrap up a little bit earlier today, but that's okay. And
I have a quick question for Kay.
Yes.
Kay, when you're making like lists for like story logs and stuff like that, do you utilize like bullet lists at all?
In my preparation, are you talking about preparation or actual presentation, Marianne?
No. In just preparation and like note taking and stuff like that. I've been doing a lot of research lately on like bulleted lists and stuff instead of bulleted journaling, I guess it's called.
Okay. People like, both in terms of developing presentation, they like bullets. It gives you something quick and easy to kind of hang your hat on. People actually like it in terms of the actual presentation as well, as long as you don't get too many, because people they see bullets as takeaways. as short and sweet, sort of a consolidation of an idea. So bullets work great.
Thanks.
Sure.
Question. All right. Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Kay. This was a fabulous, fabulous presentation and training, and I cannot wait to see what everyone does with their 3 C's. So
me too.
Yeah.
Super stories, come in here. Okay.
Fantastic.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.